Welcome. Okay, folks, we're going to get started. We have a short program here, and it's really exciting and it's electric to see so many people here. So, on behalf of the board of the Sleep Medicine and Research Foundation, I'd like to welcome you all to this tribute reception honoring Dr. Guilleminault. Shout out for Dr. Guilleminault and the people that are speakers, if you can migrate to the stage. So, my name is and I'm lucky to have learned from and worked with Dr. Guilleminault for 20 years. My relationship with CG is short compared to the many decades that many of you have worked with CG. And like so many of you, CG has had a profound impact on my professional career, but more importantly, he has been instrumental in the care of my family. So CG has many firsts, and tonight we're celebrating his description of pediatric sleep apnea 40 years ago, and 45 years ago, his description of central sleep apnea and insomnia syndrome. And so while we're here to pay homage to the man and celebrate not only his successes, but we're here to celebrate in all our successes in the field of sleep medicine. Here in this room, we have the best and the brightest in the field of sleep medicine, spanning really across all the different medical specialties. And because CG's work has reverberated across the other fields, now we have dentists here and myofunctional therapists, because his work has really touched all different disciplines. So tonight we also want you to celebrate not only CG, but the field of sleep medicine. We want you to network and socialize with your colleagues, and we want you to enjoy the camaraderie that comes from working toward a shared mission. We have a couple of other people here taking photos. So Jeff, if you want to wave your hand, Jeff. And then Mari. So everybody usually wants to get a selfie with CG, and Jeff and Mari are here to get those selfies. And then we also are catching this event on video. So we have one of CG's patients here, Annie. We're going to post the video to the Sleep Medicine and Research Foundation website at the end of the summer. Very important, we want to thank our sponsors and give a shout out to them. Vyaire Medical, and John Tucker and his institute, the Tucker Educational Excellence. Shout out to John Tucker and his institute, Sleep Oracle, Airway Health, and the Academy of Non-Functional Therapy, and the great collaborator, Mark Moeller. Mark? All monies donated tonight will be used to fund the Sleep Medicine Research Foundation's activities and programs. So the SMRF is an abbreviation. It's a nonprofit 501c organization, and their mission is to advance sleep health worldwide. So the foundation provides research awards to continue the research that CG and others have started but not finished. So I'd like to encourage all of you to please give serious consideration to making a donation tonight. Now, many of you have already seen this tribute video that was sent out earlier. As many of you know, if you're French or you have any connection to something French, then CG automatically has an affinity toward you. So this video was created by another Frenchman in the Bay Area. We are going to have CG say a few things, but we have so many esteemed researchers and speakers here in this room. And so the people that are speakers, if you could actually migrate to the podium, these people really don't need an introduction. They're the leaders in our field. Jed Black, the adjunct associate professor at Stanford, and he's vice president at Jazz. Ron Sherman, professor of neurology and director of the Sleep Disorder Center at the University of Michigan. He's also the president of the American Academy of Sleep Medicine. Gilles Levine is professor of the dental school, and he was the prior dean of the University of Montreal School of Dentistry. Carol Marcus, she's director of the Sleep Center at Children's Hospital CHOP in Philadelphia. Dr. Mignot is going to be coming later. Maurice Ohayon is the chief of the Division of Public Mental Health and Population Sciences and professor in the Department of Psychiatry. Paola Pirelli, she's actually here from Italy. She rescheduled her surgery in order to come here, so we are very fortunate that she's traveled all this way. She's associate professor in the Department of Clinical Sciences and Translational Medicine. And Phyllis Z is she's a professor of neurology and the chief of sleep medicine in the Department of Neurology at Northwestern University. So if you could please give your full, undivided attention to the speakers. Thank you so much.
Well, first, I'd like to thank Stacy for inviting me to say a word. But I think we owe a round of applause to Stacy Quo and Casey Lee and all the others who organized this event tonight. This is wonderful, and this is way overdue. I'm supposed to say a couple of words for 2 minutes only, and it would take me more than 2 hours, maybe 2 days, to say all the good that could be said, along with all the bad that could be said about Christian Guilleminault. And all the wonderful. So I'm only going to tell you a couple things. One is, when I came to Stanford, Bill Dement told me about Christian Guilleminault. He said, Christian knows more about sleep than anyone in the world. And half of what he knows is true. And that, I think that sort of sums it up. What I was most impressed with, the list is long, as everyone knows. Christian is just unbelievable. But what I was most impressed with when I came to Stanford to do a fellowship in 1992 was Christian's passion. I saw it in Bill Dement, and I saw it in Christian Guilleminault, and I said, what fuels these guys? What makes them so passionate? Why are they so dedicated and committed? And it was everything that Christian did, from early morning to late at night. He was editor of the Journal of Sleep. He was the foundation for that journal and made that the great journal that it is today. He's a passionate educator. He's a passionate clinician. The patients are the most important for him. He's phenomenal. So it's his passion that I was impressed with, and I've been impressed with also. The other thing that's really seminal in his career is his pioneer spirit. He's been a pioneer in sleep medicine. He's discovered or described more sleep disorders than any other sleep clinician in the history of sleep medicine. And so hats off to Christian, a round of applause. This is way overdue, and I'm profoundly grateful to him for his influence in my career, which has been profound. Thank you.
So, my name is Ron Sherman. I'm honored to be here on this occasion. Like Jed, I was asked to spend a couple minutes talking about what the personal impact that CG has had on me and my work. So, I guess I would say, first off, that I've had the good fortune to learn from quite a few really renowned mentors. But honestly, CG was totally unique. And none have impacted my career more than CG has, both personally and professionally. And I'd say that there are at least three things that are unique talents about Christian. And first of all, I totally agree with Jen. He's an incredible clinician, an incredible observer of human medical behavior and the human condition. And through his very careful characterization and insight, he has really created a field, helped so much to create a field and generate testable hypotheses. In my own career, my interest in hyperactivity in children and mild sleep disordered breathing, which have been themes throughout my career, really started when I was a fellow and learning from Christian. He also taught a very high level of skepticism, which I'm honored to say I've kept. I never matched the degree, but I think that's been one of the most useful things that Christian has taught us. And again, I think just even to this day, a lot of my research centers on what first developed under Christian's mentorship at Stanford. The other thing, besides the incredible clinician and observer that he is uniquely devoted to mentorship. And he actually taught us by example, although we might not be able to meet that example of how to be good mentors. So I saw in the brochure that he comes at 7 a.m. I mean, I think for many years, he must be slacking off because he was there at 5 a.m. to see all the studies before the fellows would. And he would leave late. And he's served as such a wonderful role model for so many prominent board-certified sleep medicine physicians now. You know, who have all had, many of whom have had very prominent careers, and I think that they were ignited by Krishnan's enthusiasm that Jed talked about. So, you know, I can only say that he taught me by example. I don't know that I matched it, but I think I've been a much more effective mentor now for more than 100 board-certified sleep medicine physicians myself over the years, largely because of him. And finally, the third quality I'll just mention is Krishnan also never hesitated to give life advice. And some of that advice has been very impactful. So, for one thing, he always advised never say no to opportunities, always say yes. And I've sometimes lived to regret that to the point that I put a card on my phone that says just say no. But I haven't really fought off that impulse that he implanted in us very well. He also said, for example, that sleep is enough of a specialty and you shouldn't subspecialize within sleep once you're in sleep. And that was also advice that has affected my career. And then he also gave me advice about marriage. He said, look at Emmanuel. You do what he did. You can establish your career first and then you can worry about getting married. And so, you know, I actually didn't think about that until I ended up having twins and chasing around the two preschoolers at age 44. I realized that, you know, it might not have been advice totally without another side. The other thing, when it came time to choosing where to move for a job, and I looked all over the country really, he said, you should go to Michigan. And I said, why? He said, well, you'll like the Midwest. There's nice people out there. You're going to fit in very well. So now 23 years later, I met and married a Midwesterner. I had kids there. And I was starting to think that I did fit in quite well. Although I thought of CG and wondered how well I fit in after the last election. Now, the other thing that CG had said was, when I was looking at jobs, don't you need time to do research? And he said, no, forget it, all these jobs are the same. You'll do research nights and weekends. I thought surely he's mistaken, and I realized for many years that he wasn't. So I'll just say that I don't really think anyone in the sleep field has had a more positive impact on my own career, and really, very few exceptions, all for the positive. He's had a similar impact, I think, on the whole field, and I think I will speak for many in saying how much we appreciate what he's contributed.
I'm Carol Marcus, and I'm a pediatrician. And I'll say that because Christian is not a pediatrician, and yet he is the one who published all of the seminal early works on pediatric sleep. In 1976, he published a case series on 8 children with OSA. 8 kids. Last night my lab studied 14 children. It just shows the field that he and Wilderman created and how it's grown. He published on the use of CPAP in infants in the early 80s. It is still not FDA approved for that age group. He published the first physiologic study on congenital central hyperventilation syndrome. And these are just sidelines, just a hobby, because he's not a pediatrician. But no matter how stellar someone's academic achievements are, I think they are always remembered most for their personal attributes. And I will never forget how, as a fellow at my first poster, he took the time to talk to me. I was really interested in my research, and that meant such a tremendous amount to me and my self-esteem. He's a wonderful mentor, a teacher. All of Asia respects him. And above all, he has remained through this the quintessential Frenchman. Not only is he always gallant and chivalrous, even when we disagree, which has been often, but the first time I went to Stanford, I think I invited myself. I went to his office, and he pulls out his top drawer, and he takes out 2 glass wine goblets and a bottle of red. It made me feel at home. And I thought no American would ever do that. So thank you for being such a role model.
We need you on the stage. Christian, come on the stage. I'm not talking if you're not on the stage. Christian, 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 Christian. Come. I'm not talking if you're... We need you on the stage. Okay, welcome everyone. I think you are all here because you suffer of the Guilleminault entropy. You know what is entropy? It's a transformation. Christian, thank you to have transformed sleep medicine. One of the things that people have to know, Christian grew up in Europe, as you know, and in Europe people are looking for truffle, not the chocolate, the real truffle. Christian is like those animals who find the unique truffle. He's always finding what is exceptional in our field. I have to declare something. 3 years ago we gave him an honorary degree in dentistry. If you have a toothache, please don't let him touch you. If you put one finger in your mouth, you will be in big trouble. So, having said this, people in astrophysics have the Big Bang. People in mathematics now are moving to deep learning. We, as sleep clinicians, we have the Guilleminault paradox. What is a paradox? We all know in sleep medicine, REM sleep in French is sommeil paradoxal. So, Christian is a real paradox. By definition, a paradox for medication is like a medication you give to stimulate, to reduce hyperactive behavior. So, definitively, Christian is a challenger, is a living paradox, and we like Christian as he is. Christian, merci pour tout ce que tu as fait et d'avoir réuni les peuples. Christian, you are a real world ambassador. Merci.
Good evening. I'm Phyllis Z. And a little bit different than all the other speakers before, I never was at Stanford. I was never, I would say, officially mentored by Christian, but I think this is one of the great gifts that Christian is giving us, which is to be able to mentor those unofficially, hundreds, I'm sure, maybe thousands, I'm not sure, I'm not good at counting, people like myself. I remember in 1995, I was always a Northwestern. I was a nice Northwestern person, and Midwestern. And it was at the Nashville APSS meeting. Christian was about to go back to France, and he was telling me about those dogs, you know, the canine narcolepsy, and the fact that he would take an interest and speak to somebody like me, who was just starting really in the field. I was old, but I was starting in the field, was tremendous. And he really showed throughout the years, mentoring from afar, the passion for sleep medicine, and also how much he really cared about the field. I sat with him many years later on an NIH study section. It was what we call the SCORE grants. Those were big grants for pulmonary medicine. And we went around giving our scores. Christian gave it a 2 or 20 at the time, which is really quite good. I sat next to him. He probably doesn't remember this, but I so remember this. I gave it he gave it a 3, I gave it a 2, which is a better score. And he says, excuse me, he says, Phyllis Z, she's very tough. She's going to give a 3, I'm giving a 1. Because he wanted the field to flourish. He wanted that grant. I learned from that. I learned that you have to be an ambassador for your field. And really throughout the years, Christian is the ultimate clinician. And I'm going to spend too much more time, but Ron, I think that maybe half of the things that maybe Christian got wrong are yet to be shown to be right. Good evening, everyone.
I'd like to thank
Sleep Medicine Research Foundation for this wonderful event. I'm really honored and delighted to be here this evening, celebrating Dr. Guilleminault. When I first met CG, it was a dream come true. For many years, as a pediatric orthodontist, I wanted to do so much more for my children than to treat dental malocclusion. So, after deepening my research on the relationship between rapid maxillary expansion and respiratory function, finally, I realized that the rapid maxillary expansion could do something more, even benefit Anoza's children. And I attended the OSAS conference in Rome in 2002. The faculty there had invited me to present my initial results on RME in OSAS children. And after my presentation, a gentleman stood in the audience and about my research he said, "That's the way. Unforgettable, Kristen. Really unforgettable." What a thrilling feeling it was to have CG congratulate me. Thus connecting our research paths. So he immediately suggested me to present my results at the World Congress in OSAS in 2003 in Helsinki. And when I got there, I suddenly felt that I was in an exciting new world, surrounded by a vast audience of specialists involved in OSAS children. I presented my research with passion, and I will never forget the great support in that moment from Dr. Stacy Guo. Where is Stacy? Thank you, Stacy. Dr. Luigi Farini Strambi, and above all, from Dr. Christian Guilleminault. His belief in my work gave me great inner strength as I innovatively introduced RME treatment for OSA children. So I'd like to express my deepest gratitude to Christian Guilleminault. He is a true visionary and an inspiration. Through his multidisciplinary work, he has established highly successful treatment methods for children affected by OSAS, forever changing their lives. So thank you very, very much, Christian. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you, the organizer, to have invited me. So I have the privilege to close now. So if you have only 2 minutes, really 2 minutes of patience, I want to say something. First, I am one of the rare this evening to be there and two qualities. First, I am French, American also, but I am French and like Christian. Je veux te dire combien tu es dans la parfaite tradition française de la médecine du sommeil. Combien everywhere, how much everywhere, in France, in Europe, Christian is admired. His position is without any contest. He is in the full tradition of all these big neurologists that were in France, starting by Gaston, with all the creation of electroencephalography, with Jouvet. And I think that really it's important to underline that he is in this tradition and he has founded really this sleep medicine, this possibility to develop in all the sector of medicine. So I wanted also to say that I am here on my position of the Chief of the Division of Public Mental Health and science population at Stanford. Stanford is the alma mater now of Christian since so many years. I arrived in Stanford 20 years ago, Christian. You imagine 20 years ago, and the vision of Christian was immediately sleep is a problem of public health. And everyone must remember that. He was at the origin of that, and I came in Stanford because he had this vision, and I will never forget that. And for all of that, and for all what everyone has said, Christian, merci encore d'être là, d'être notre mentor et d'avoir été si brillant. Merci.
Judith Owens was actually one of the other speakers, and she regrets that she had something happen at home, and she's unable to make this celebration tonight. But she did want to say a few words for CG. This is from Dr. Owens. I'm delighted that Dr. Christian Guilleminault is being honored by his colleagues and friends. And it's hard to think of anyone in our field who is more deserving of accolades for his many seminal contributions. I first had the honor of meeting Christian in the late 1990s when we were both recipients of a Sleep Academic Award. I, of course, knew his work and was in awe of him, to my surprise, given his professional status. He turned out to be charming, warm, humble, and a generous and supportive colleague to a young investigator like myself. Nearly 20 years after this first encounter, I continue to be in awe of Christian's boundless energy, endless curiosity, amazing work ethic, and prodigious scholarly output. But I think what I admire most is his openness to new ideas and willingness to venture into new and often uncharted territory in clinical work, research, and education. I have no doubt that he will continue to inspire and challenge us for many years to come, forever young. Many thanks, Judy.
We'll be quiet, everybody, for a moment, because we're going to have to get Christian up on stage, please. Because you have to address your fans here. Please come up here. But I just want to, a couple of other travel delays. Olivero Bruni from Sapienza, University of Rome, sends his regards. He is late coming from the airport. He loves and adores Christian and appreciates your work. You're an inspiration, going back for decades for him, and you inspire him every day. And also Emmanuel Mignot from Stanford Sleep Medicine and the Department of Psychiatry. We're very honored to have the support of Stanford School of Medicine. They don't give support very lightly with nonprofit organizations of any kind. It's great. Stanford gave their support officially on Thursday, I think. But Emmanuel Mignot sends his warmest regards and best wishes for the success of this foundation. And also, unfortunately, Bill DeMint is delayed in his arrival here. There's been some weather challenges around the country, but I have a quote from the plane. There's Guillaume Apollinaire. I don't know if you guys know the French poet. But there's a story of a master who said, "Come to the edge, come to the edge." And they said, "No, master, we're afraid. And, but anyway, the master said, come to the edge. And then he pushed them. And then they flew. This is what Christian Guilleminault does for all of us. He pushes us and we fly. So thank you very much. So Christian, would you please do us the honor of saying a few words?
What can I say after so many incredible speech? The first thing is, about 5 days ago, San Francisco is full of hills, and on the weekend, I always go on my bicycle. And there was a hill that I wanted to go up. And right now I have some problem to stand up because I went a bit too far. I went a bit over the edge. And I pulled a ligament. But let's face it. Firstly, yes, I did pediatrics. Actually, I was a resident in Professor Turpin department which discovered the gene for Down syndrome. And it made me suffer a lot during that year of residency. So that's why I decided that I was not going to do pediatrics. But I remember all what I learned during that year. And a few years back, in France, you can do neurology, and if you do 2.5 years of psychiatry, you can also have the diploma of psychiatrist. So I was pretty good at ski for many years. So I decided that in a residency program there was Geneva. And Geneva is very close from the Alps and Chamonix and all the slopes. So I signed up for 1 year of pediatric psychiatry in Geneva. So I had a certain amount of training in pediatrics before coming up here. And my view was, there is no difference. Everything starts in pediatrics, and what we see in adults are the result of what happened in pediatrics. But, you know, medical school is what it is, and residency is what it is, i.e. very boring. And I was very disappointed by a lot of things. As it was mentioned under my back, that I never wanted to be a physician. I never find that medicine was that bright. People redo and do and do the same thing over and over again. We cannot stay like that. We have to advance. We have to find new things. We have to find new treatment. We have to open the field. And in France, that was not the case. So I had a few problems as a resident with my master's. And that led me to be at Stanford. And I must say that Bill DeMann was very kind. He never understood what I wanted to do. He wanted me to do something, and I wanted to do something else. But he gave me $12,000 a year for many years. So I never bought a house in Palo Alto. But he gave me a lot of opportunity to work at night and on the weekend. And he gave me the opportunity to meet people. To meet people who have ideas, and to meet people who wanted to do something. And basically that's what I wanted. And, you know, I don't vote in the US election because I'm still a French citizen. And I don't know what will happen to my green card. But one thing is, the French president said, you know, recently, let's put the planet Earth first. You may have heard that sentence from someone else in the US, but usually it's only the US first. The planet first. And I believe that that's true. Sleep medicine should go all around the world. And that was one thing that I really believe very strongly. Education is what makes us great. Education will bring people to new vision. They will find new things. Not what I find, they will build on it. And that's what we want. We have to progress. So, at one time, we trained 50% of all the sleep lab in the world. Sharon Keenan did that calculation. And probably it's right. If we have the money, we should educate. If we have the brain, we should educate. And we should send all what the ideas, right or wrong, are. And people will show you that you are wrong. And as Chet Black said, maybe 50% of the time, which I don't agree. But that's what we have to do. We have to create a new world in a way which will be better for everybody. And we have the health care. We know that sleep apnea starting probably during the last third trimester of pregnancy and very early in life. We have to do something to prevent it. Sleep medicine is prevention, and that's what we have to do. That's what we have to carry on. And we can prevent, and because of you, we can do that. I'm very grateful to Stacy and Casey because they believe in that, and they helped me a lot. Actually, you know, we worked for free for many, many years, seeing children in Stacy's office and collecting data and doing everything. I never had a grant. My last grant was with Guilleminault in 1989. So, for a lot of things, we did it because we wanted it to do. We wanted to advance the field, your field, and we have to win. We have to make these things better. We have to create a world sleep medicine. The only regret, I'm invited regularly to go to Iran, but I will lose my green card. So I cannot go to Iran, but I went to China, even to Urumqi, to bring a CPAP machine to a general of the Chinese army, just to see how is it going. And I believe that we have to take risk. We have to take the risk of science. All my ideas were not right. And have a lot of papers were never published because the studies show that I was wrong. However, all the studies that I published were right. And they were replicated. So, one other thing is, take the risk. Go ahead. You are the people who are here, the people that I believe in. A lot of you have been fellows at Stanford, and you are all over. And you have to advance. You have to create. As I say, I was a student in 1968. I did not throw stone, but I was on the wrong side, meaning against the police. And this slogan, give power to imagination, is something that I believe very strongly. You have imagination, you have ideas, check them, test them, and see if they are right. That's the only thing that we can do. We have to advance the field. We are in the 21st century, and sleep medicine is really preventive medicine. It's medicine during sleep. It's internal medicine during sleep for children, premature, adults, geriatric, it doesn't matter. But that's the goal, and I'm still very strongly believe in that. And sometimes people say, you know, you pass retirement age. I say, what age? So I want to carry on that flag, but I don't want to be the only one. You have to take hold of the flag. Thank you very much, Stacy. Stacy, Cameron Choi, Casey Lee, for all what you did. And I greatly appreciate that. But the future is yours.
Spumanti, bravo.
I am here just to drink 2 special bottles of wine. This name remember me Christian. I was in Puglia in May, and I think that this is the right wine for this night. And the name of the wine is Apnia. We have rosé and white. Just the words. When I start to be involved in sleep, one day in 1990, my chief called me and told me, Oliviero, from now on you will be involved in sleep. And I say, okay, Professor, I was a pediatric neurologist. And okay, where should I begin? What should I do? And he said, this is up to you. If you want to do it, otherwise don't. And I was in the darkness. And I found the light in the darkness. And the light in the darkness was the name of this guy here, Christian Guilleminault, because my first book was Sleep Disorders in Children, published in 1987. So this was my first approach. And then in 1992 I met personally in the School of Sleep Medicine in Stanford, Dr. Christian Guilleminault. He was a young guy at that time. And I was impressed, and then for the first time I heard about sleep apnea and everything about sleep. And I have to thank for his full support on my activities, because if I have a doubt, if I have something that which I'm not sure, I write to Dr. Guilleminault, and I always have the right answer for my question. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Grazie mille, Oliviero. Before you guys all rush off to give donations to the guys with the Boston Red Sox caps, I just want to say our next official function for the Sleep Medicine and Research Foundation will be Tuesday, October 10th, during the World Congress of Sleep in Prague, in Czech Republic. So I hope we see you all at the World Congress of Sleep in Prague, October 7th to October 11th. It will be an amazing, dynamic lineup, and Christian will be honored yet again in several ways. But I believe this is fingers crossed. We will have a beautiful event in the palatial ballroom of the medieval city hall in Old Prague, Tuesday, October 10th. So thank you very much for coming tonight, spending some of your precious time. Thank you.